Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It feels like about a quarter of all comments on this channel across all videos is about buying a used WRX or STI. So in this video, I'm gonna make kind of an updated, revised video on what you can do and how you should be looking at buying used WRXs and STIs. This is basically going to be a complete guide to inspecting them, looking for previous tuning, looking for things that you need to take care of, you know, basically all the rules and stuff. We're gonna start the video by talking about what I think are acceptable bounds of mileage, usage, number of owners, all those things, and then we're gonna jump over, flip the camera around, and I will walk you around my WRX and show you guys specific areas of the car, whether it's an STI or a WRX, that you can look for and look at for evidence of tuning and just some things about maintenance that you should look at for these cars. One of the big ones that nobody does is actually rust, and rust in specific areas of this car. Rust is really well hidden in this chassis of this generation and the previous generation, and you don't really know it's there until it's so bad that it's hard to repair. And these cars do actually rust, especially if you live within the rust belt, so that's a big one. But I'm gonna give you guys like every bit of information you need to know. And I guess conversely, this is gonna sound bad, but if you're not in the market for a WRX and you're looking to understand what other people are looking for, because you might eventually sell your WRX, stay tuned in the video because you're going to get understanding. So this is a double-edged sword. I'm basically kind of showing you guys how to scam somebody, but also giving you guys the rights and the empowerment to be able to look and buy a, WRX on your own that's used. So first and foremost, let's talk about owners, and this kind of like lives with any used car. Especially a car that has less than a decade under its belt. So like, let's say you're buying a 2015 WRX or something like that, that's 9 years, 8 or 9 years of ownership. I would never buy a car with more than 3 owners. That is my absolute maximum, actually, for pretty much any car that I've ever owned. The only car that had more was my Miata for a little bit of time, but I paid like 50% under what that car was worth on the market because of that, essentially. So with the WRX, I personally would never buy more than a 1-owner WRX. That's what I've done with every WRX other than this one, and now obviously I'm the first owner on this WRX. But I'd be looking at 1 owner or 2 owners, but the goal here is to be able to understand who that owner is. So that's the most important part. One of the biggest things with buying a used WRX or STI is it's actually better to buy from a person than a dealer. It's one of the few cars that you're better off buying from somebody private sale if you can make it happen with your loan and all those things, because you can go and talk to that person and get a read from them. They might not tell you the truth, but they're gonna give you a really good understanding because you're gonna be able to read their body language of whether they're trying to hide something or else. But you might also get lucky and find someone that's super transparent. And that's what I did with my first 2 WRXs. For the first one, actually, I bought from a dealer, but the dealer took it in on a trade, 1 owner. The person was like 67. So that told me that they weren't beating on the car and they didn't tune it. So I bought that car, right? I spent a little bit more money actually buying that one to try to ensure that I would have the safest ride, long-term, lower cost of maintenance and that kind of thing. My second WRX, which was a 2016 WRX, which I had plans on building it. Obviously I tuned it, did full bolt-ons and that kind of stuff. I actually bought from somebody that never tuned it, walked me through his own whole ownership, how he used the car. And I very much spent a day with him really understanding that, trusted him, took the leap, and it very much paid off. So first off is ownership. Second off is mileage. So the reality is these cars can last a decent amount of mileage, but then it also depends, have they been tuned? Is there extra wear from tuning? How many owners? Who's taking care of them? Because they are very much cars that need a higher level of care than your average car. So if you're getting into this platform for the first time, my recommendation is to stay under 100,000 miles. The sweet spot is you can usually pick up good deals from like 50 to 80,000 miles. What I've found, having been on the market for a long time, because I'm actually always looking for more WRXs, because I obviously develop parts now for JXR Performance and I need WRXs to use develop parts for. It seems like between 50 and 80,000 miles, you don't have a big difference in price. The gap kind of like starts to increase when you're like in that range, and then you jump to like the 100 to 130,000 miles. You can get yourself into a cheap WRX with higher mileage, which is actually something that I plan on doing on the channel because you guys told me to do. And I'm gonna be trying to buy like 150,000, 160,000 mile WRX, but I'm only looking to pay like 7 grand for it. So I'm kind of waiting for the right deal, for the right car, the right ownership with the least amount of problems, just to see what happens, and also use it as a car just to build, because I know that I'm gonna have to pull the engine and do all that stuff. But typically I'd be staying between 50 and 80,000 miles if you can afford it. If you need to stretch a little bit further, that 100,000 mile mark is probably where I would go. I would say that 150,000 miles is generally the normal lifespan of these cars if they've been tuned at one point. Now, I'm not saying that they're all gonna fail, but that is where you start having a massive amount of increased increased amount of maintenance. The other thing that you can look at is accidents. I tend to be a little more agnostic to cars with accidents. They don't bother me as much as long as there's no frame damage. It's pretty easy to stick your head underneath the car and understand were things band-aided and bondoed, or were they actually fixed. But let me grab the camera for a second, turn you around, and show you some spots on the car that you should take a look at if you're looking at a used WRX or STI. This is what I choose to do. This is what I do with every car that I've ever looked at. And otherwise, like those so far are the biggest constraints before you even go out to see a car of what you need to be looking for. But let's turn the camera around. Okay, so let's say I'm showing up to this WRX, which is my WRX, but I'm thinking about buying it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a walk around. I'm looking for damage. The paint on these cars is super thin, and it's actually pretty hard to blend the paint on these, I'll be honest, having owned them. So paint damage, kind of a big deal in my book. Now, if you get into an older car, there's gonna be some paint damage, but I'm doing a general walk around. When I get to the rear of the car, this is the easiest part. I'm gonna test to make sure the lights work. Then I'm gonna pop open the hood and see if the liner's on, right? That's easy. There's a couple reasons for that. You're looking for tapping of the wires, not the biggest deal. But the biggest part with the back of the WRX is you're going to go like this. You're going to lay down on the ground and you're going to look underneath your car. Now, I know it's super black right now. I'm going to step away for a second. It's not super bright out and I don't have a flashlight. What you're looking for is rust. Now, there is going to be surface rust on your exhaust. There's going to be on it, but you have a really good, if you look underneath here, you're gonna have a really good exposure of the suspension parts on the two rear wheels. You're looking for excessive rust on those suspension parts. If there's a lot of rust, even if it's just surface rust, if you see a lot of rust around the joints, around the bolts, you're better off continuing and looking somewhere else, because ultimately that rust is there because nobody's been cleaning underneath it and a bunch of grime has gotten up in there and then it's surface rusted. But after a certain amount of surface rust, you get like a film almost, and it can actually do some damage on your suspension parts. These cars need alignments often. They need a lot of suspension kind of maintenance to be healthy in the long run, to keep the best tire life, and that's why. The next thing, just mentioning it, tires and wheels. So I'd be making sure that the wheels don't have any issues with them, but more often than not, I'm looking for tires. I want some life in them because tires on an all-wheel drive car are important and they're expensive. So the last thing we're doing before we actually get in the car is we're gonna pop the hood. Funny enough, I haven't popped the hood on this WRX that often. All right, I'm a culprit. So the first thing we're looking at, and this is like the oftenness of popping a hood, obviously I haven't done any work in the car yet, is you want to assess whether you're somebody like me or you're looking for somebody like me, and you're looking at how grimy is their top mount intercooler. Now, this isn't that bad. Obviously, that's like 6 months of driving for me. But if there's like leaves and stuff on it and there's stuff caked on it, just know they're not in here that often, so it might reflect the care. Obviously, I'm a culprit. I really haven't cleaned this in like 6 months because I'm lazy and it's not that bad, but that's pretty bad that I'm even saying that. The next thing that I'm looking for is over here on on a 2015 to all the way to 2024 WRX. This is where your intake is. Now, stock intake, that's okay, great. The one thing that you can do here just to see if somebody ran an intake, right, is just look at your clips. This is the typical OEM clip position. Obviously, that's how you would reinstall it, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people, this will be like here because they use a hand tool versus somebody that's using a machine tool, which would then put this bolt in this position. So if you see this bolt and it's like over here because it's been hand tightened, that could be something that they've removed it. Now that could also happen at a shop, so it's hard to be, indicative of it. It's just something that I seem to look at. The other big thing you can do with a WRX, right? So if you're looking at the engine bay, and this is with an STI too, there's not as much room on the EJ, but with a WRX there is. We have a pretty small engine for a pretty big engine bay. You can actually stick your head in and look through this gap, right? It's super dark here, but what you will be able to see is you'll be able to see the bottom half of the engine hooking up to the transmission right there. Let's see if I can increase my ISO so you guys can see that. There we go. High ISO, you can see my transmission right there. So what you're looking for is you're just looking for corrosion or rust anywhere on that guy. And you're looking, if it looks really bad and you're questioning things, it's a problem. What you're also looking for is you can see some of the cross members down there in the actual axle. You're looking for odd fluid stains. This is just meaning that there is some underneath work, let's just say, that needs to get done. Not the end of the world, but that's what you're looking for. Conversely, we're gonna go down to this side. We're gonna look and check our battery. This, you might think sounds silly, but when you hook up aftermarket things that are aftermarket power to your terminals, most people are really bad at doing it, and they don't have clean connections. They don't properly connect everything, and it causes premature corrosion. So if you have a newer looking battery, but your terminals are awful, that person was probably running wires to something in their WRX. This is not uncommon. In fact, it's pretty common, right? If you're running a lot of different things like an aftermarket head unit, backup camera, whatever it is, obviously those aren't things for this year, but there are a lot of parts that you need to power, and this is where you're going to take a look. That's pretty much it for this, for inside the engine bay. Obviously you can look at obviously some of the other things could be hidden, so that's like a basic way of looking at it. I guess the one other thing that I would look at is just whether or not your caps look like they've been changed recently. Typically what I do is I just look and I just go like this with my finger, and if the dust matches, if the dust matches the top hat and it matches the dust coming off the frame, that's the best that I can do to assume it hasn't been changed. Now, having aftermarket coilovers are not the end of the world. The only problem is if somebody slams their car and they run like a really, really high spring rate, or vice versa, a really, really low spring rate, it might do some undue wear on the other suspension components. So not the end of the world, honestly. I would say that that's lower in things that I think about, but it is something you can look for. Now let's just sit into the car for a second, because this is where it gets a little bit trickier. All right. So we're in my dusty car today, and a few things. So if you're on a WRX or an STI, you can look down at this control panel. So one of the big signs of running an access port, which is the thing that you use to tune the cars, is either having one of these little ports knocked out, a hole burred into them, or evidence that this has been removed. You're looking for scratches. Obviously you can't be perfect. We're just trying to be as educated as possible and trying to get the best guess. The other thing that you could check is, do I have a fuse panel, right? If you have the fuse panel, you're probably good. You know, one of the tricks of the trade, if you really want to look, is does my fuse panel have like a lot of scratches from like opening it? It's not that common to open this fuse panel. Obviously, if there's a problem with the car, you take it into a shop, they're going to open it a couple times. But if it has like continued usage or markings like here, right? Somebody may have been running the OBD cable up through here and out to the access port, and you might see scarring or marking. The other place that you could look for marking for a access port mount is in your vent right here, or a clip on here. So we're looking for scratches or scores here. Again, not the end of the world if somebody's tuning the car. That's just a place you can look. You can also look, especially on the VB WRX here. Not that many people stick something on their windshield other than an access port mount. That just happens to be a GoPro mount. But if you see circles, you got to wonder and ask yourself, why are they not using the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and projecting their maps there? Why are they mounting their phone? Just something I would think about. The one last thing you can look at is your shifter. So one of the interesting things, I avoid cars where people have put in shift stop mounts or done any work on their shifters on their own, just because it's something that can cost a lot of money if it fails. If a shifter fails, it can do bigger damage on the transmission. So one of the things that I like to do, and this is going to sound like super anal, but you can do to understand if some work's been done, put it in first and then figure out how much play there is. That's a lot of play, but that's called OEM stock play, and it absolutely sucks that there's that much play. If somebody's put something in there or worked on it themselves, you're not going to have any play. You'll shift it and it like won't move because it's a tighter opening, right? This is a lot of play. It's almost amount of play that like it sucks. I don't mind it, but it gives you the understanding that someone's pulled the boot off and done some work down there. But that's essentially it. There's not much else you can do from a visual inspection part for your WRX or STI, but those are the things that I follow when I'm looking for one. So hopefully this video wasn't too generalized and you learned something if you were looking for a WRX, but also I guess concurrently if you're looking to sell your WRX or STI, you just figured out how people are actually looking at it if you're trying to hide the fact that it's been tuned. My best recommendation is do not hide that you've tuned your WRX or STI, just be honest, because then, you know, you're not going to get sued later on if you're not disclosing something. A lot of states, you have to look into the rules, but you have to disclose some certain stuff. So you have to disclose certain things in certain states, and there's like lemon laws and used car warranties that even if you're not a dealer, you might have to abide to, depending on how old your car is and how many miles are on it. So just be honest with it, be honest with the person, and sometimes honesty in tuning your car shows a higher level of care, because if you tune your car and you stay tuned for a long time, It's showing that you've cared for your car longer than somebody else would, and that's what I would do if I'm looking for a used WRX or STI. I'll see you guys in the next video.